Through the Heavens, Episode 182. He Qing hunted to the brink of death. Xiao Yan unveils his Dou Sheng might and crushes the battlefield in an instant. He Qing went rigid with shock as the three dragon kings joined hands to strangle Xian into a corner. After Xiao Yan finished cleaning up the reinforcements of the heavenly demon Phoenix clan, he received word that the three Dragon Islands had already launched a full-scale assault on Eastern Dragon Island. Without a second of hesitation, he immediately led the group toward Dragon Island to back Xian up. Inside the boundless void space, streaks of light tore through the darkness, like lightning racing toward Eastern Dragon Island. At the very front, Yao Ming measured the distance with a quick calculation and told Xiao Yan they would arrive in a little over 10 minutes. Xiao Yan stared into the endless black ahead and silently accelerated. Yet after only a few minutes, he abruptly stopped. An abnormal fluctuation of soul power brushed past his senses. At the same time, a violent battle was erupting deep within the dark. A deafening explosion of energy thundered outward. A figure spat blood and crashed back toward his companions. They were surrounded by more than a dozen powerful experts, led by two elderly figures whose horrifying auras had already reached the half-sheng level. The trapped side had only 7 people, most of them badly wounded. Only He Qing and Elder Zhu Li were in relatively better condition, yet even they wore grim expressions heavy as stone. They had been returning from patrol when the catastrophic news struck. The three Dragon Islands had allied forces and were attacking Eastern Dragon Island, desperate to reinforce their home. They rushed back only to run straight into an enemy detachment tasked with sealing off the area. The difference in strength was overwhelming. They were crushed almost instantly, then hunted here with ruthless persistence. The enemy's intent was obvious: leave none alive. The elderly man in battle armor curled his lips into a sneer at Zhu Li. He proclaimed that the three Dragon Kings were the only true orthodox rulers, while the so-called Dragon Emperor, supported by Eastern Dragon Island, was nothing but a counterfeit. Their dream of unifying the ancient Void Dragon tribe, he mocked, was pure stupidity. Zhu Li answered coldly, eyes sharp as blades. Everyone knew the truth of the Dragon Emperor's bloodline. What had been forgotten were the clan laws themselves, eroded under the three Dragon Kings' long rule. His words made the armored elder's face twitch with something fleeting and unnatural. Within the ancient Void Dragon tribe, the royal bloodline carried an inborn suppressive force over ordinary clansmen. They knew Eastern Dragon Island's bloodline was incomparably pure, yet beliefs carved into them through countless years kept them from daring to strike the Dragon Emperor directly. Against the others of Eastern Dragon Island, however, they had no such restraint. The red-faced elder beside him grew impatient, urging them to finish quickly and return to the main battlefield. He Qing cursed furiously, declaring the three Dragon Islands would never wipe out Eastern Dragon Island, and that the day the Dragon Emperor rose to full strength would be the day they fell. The red-faced elder answered with a scornful smile. That depended, he said, on whether Eastern Dragon Island could survive long enough to see that day. Before the last word even settled, he struck with a palm through the air. A savage force slammed into He Qing, shattering his armor in an instant. Blood sprayed as He Qing was blasted backward. Seeing his clansmen maimed, Zhu Li erupted. Vast Dao Qi surged and transformed into a 100-zhong energy dragon that roared toward the enemy. The armored elder instantly entered a half-dragon transformation, shattered the energy dragon with a single punch, and clashed with Zhu Li head-on. Their strengths had been comparable, but Zhu Li's wounds began to drag him down inch by inch into disadvantage. Seizing the opening, the red-faced elder snapped his sleeves again and again. Each strike crippled and captured another Eastern Dragon Island warrior. One by one, comrades fell. He Qing's eyes turned blood red. Gathering what little strength remained, he hurled himself at the red-faced elder in a desperate charge. The red-faced elder scoffed and drove forward a scale-covered fist. Their fists collided. A sickening crack rang out. He Qing's arm bones shattered. Blood burst from his mouth as his body was hurled thousands of meters away. He floated in the void like a broken leaf drained of all strength, hanging between life and death. The red-faced elder flashed forward, looming over him with cold indifference. He placed a palm on He Qing's crowned fingers, pressing down until blood seeped out. In an emotionless tone, he said He Qing's corpse would be tossed into the dragon tomb, at least granting him a final resting place. From afar, Zhu Li, pinned and restrained, roared in rage, swearing the Dragon Emperor would never spare him. The red-faced elder laughed. mocking that such a thing would only happen if the Dragon Emperor could survive the three Dragon Kings' hands. He lowered his gaze to He Qing, who still trembled in futile resistance. A trace of pity flickered in his voice, strong bones, but the wrong side. Then a cruel smile spread across his face as he promised victory would belong to the three Dragon Islands, and He Qing would not be lonely in death. His palm slowly tightened about to crush the last breath from He Qing's skull. At that exact moment, an icy hand soundlessly settled on the red-faced elder's own crown. A calm, emotionless voice whispered beside his ear, "Who do you think will crush whose head first, yours or his?" The red-faced elder froze as if struck by lightning. He Qing, who had already accepted death, snapped his eyes open. Reflected in his vision was a familiar slender figure, standing like a blade drawn from shadow. It was Xiao Yan. His movement had been so fast it was nearly unreal. He only rested his palm lightly atop the elder's head, yet the elder stood utterly rigid, icy fear flooding every vein. He could feel it that casual hand held power enough to shatter his skull in an instant. He Qing stared in disbelief. The red-faced elder, locked in place, desperately tried to determine who this youth was. He hurriedly introduced himself as Huozhan, a highly respected elder of Northern Dragon Island, hoping status could become a shield. Xiao Yan's expression did not change. His voice was calm, yet absolute. "Release him, now." Huozhan's mind raced. He tried to negotiate a mutual exchange so he could escape. He Qing, throat constricted and voice hoarse, shouted for Xiao Yan to ignore him and kill the half-Sheng elder. Trading one life for such a powerhouse was more than worth it. Huozhan's killing intent surged, but he didn't dare move beneath that hand. He repeated the exchange. To everyone's shock, Xiao Yan nodded. Huozhan counted rapidly to 3. The moment the final number fell, the pressure above his head vanished. He instantly released He Qing and retreated at full speed, tearing open distance. Only then did he clearly see it. The man before him was absurdly young. Huozhan immediately invoked the authority of the three Dragon Kings, warning Xiao Yan not to meddle in the internal affairs of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Xiao Yan didn't even look at him. He simply helped the wounded He Qing to his feet. He Qing forced a bitter smile, lamenting that Xiao Yan had let a perfect chance slip in exchange for a half-Sheng's life. The commotion also drew the armored half-dragon elder, fighting Zhu Li. He suddenly flared his full power, forcing the already injured Zhu Li back, then snapped his gaze toward Xiao Yan, warning that interference here in the void space was profoundly unwise. Zhu Li seized the chance to breathe. The instant he recognized Xiao Yan, his eyes widened in shock. Then he hurriedly urged Xiao Yan to leave at once with He Qing, saying he would stay behind to cover their retreat. Seeing their apparent intent to withdraw, Huozhan's tone hardened. This was Xiao Yan's last chance, he said. Xiao Yan's eyes turned cold. "A mere mid-level half-Sheng dares to posture before me." Before the words even finished, Xiao Yan vanished. Huozhan's heart lurched. He transformed into a streak of light to flee, yet the instant he moved, a massive hand tore through space and clamped onto his crown again with perfect precision. A frosty voice followed. "Move again, and you die." Huozhan went numb. Had this man already stepped into the Dou Sheng realm? He Qing and Zhu Li were utterly stunned, their minds blank. They remembered clearly when Xiao Yan left Eastern Dragon Island years ago, he had not reached this height. Now he stood as a legendary Dou Sheng, a cultivation speed so monstrous it felt unreal. Xiao Yan restrained Huozhan with one hand and lightly tapped his forehead, leaving behind a blood hole that sealed his aura and stripped him of all resistance. Then he tossed the limp Huozhan toward He Qing, saying it plainly. Capturing him takes no sacrifice. Zhu Li swallowed hard awe flooding his face. The remaining half-dragon elder was terrified out of his wits. He shouted for retreat and fled into the darkness as a streak of light. Xiao Yan didn't bother to chase. About 2 minutes later, multiple streaks of light arrived Yao Ming and his group. Each carried a captive, including the fleeing half-dragon elder already unconscious. Yao Ming laughed as he threw the prisoner forward. Xiao Yan sealed him as well and handed him to He Qing for safekeeping. Xiao Yan then introduced Yao Ming to Zhu Li as the current leader of the 9 Nether Earth Serpent clan. Zhu Li instantly tensed. He knew the 3 Dragon Islands had tried to ally with that clan against Eastern Dragon Island. Yao Ming quickly clarified they were here to help Eastern Dragon Island. Zhu Li's face brightened with tightly restrained joy. Reinforcements of this caliber were exactly what Eastern Dragon Island was starving for. Xiao Yan then asked about the situation on Eastern Dragon Island. Zhu Li's shoulders sank as he shook his head. It was disastrous. The three Dragon Islands had come with everything they had. Determined to erase the new Dragon Emperor before she could fully mature, Eastern Dragon Island had fallen into chaos, and Xian herself was being jointly besieged by the three Dragon Kings, her danger absolute and immediate. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's expression hardened solemn as iron. The reality was even worse than he had expected. Without hesitation, he turned toward Eastern Dragon Island. No matter how powerful the three Dragon Kings were, he would never stand by and watch Xian remain in peril.